I walked out of the hotel room, the newly taken photo burning a hole in my hand. One person was my wife of 3 years, Ava. The other was her first love, Dylan Vance. "Mr. Wright, are you all right?" My assistant, Leo, asked cautiously, seeing the color drain from my face. I didn't answer, my eyes locked on the phone screen. On Ava's smooth back, just below her shoulder blade, was a tattoo I had never seen before, a small butterfly. 3 years. For 3 years, I never knew my wife had a tattoo. "Mr. Wright, should I?" "No," I cut Leo off. "You can go home." I stood alone in the hallway, my mind replaying this afternoon when Ava told me she was staying the night at her best friend's place. She had kissed my cheek so gently. "Honey, I'll be back first thing in the morning to make you breakfast." Her eyes were so sincere when she lied. My phone buzzed. It was Ava. "Hey, honey, what are you up to?" Her voice was a little breathless, the background completely silent. I glanced at the hotel room door. Room 1208. "Just burning the midnight oil at the office." "You?" "Watching a movie with Chloe at her place. Just got out of the shower." Ava lied without blinking. "Don't work too late. Get some rest." "Yeah, you too." After hanging up, I looked at the picture again. Ava was lying on the bed, Dylan's hand draped over her shoulder, right where the tattoo was. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes today, I never would have known what my wife was doing behind my back. When I got home, Ava was already in the kitchen. "Honey, you're back." She turned and gave me a sweet smile. "I made your favorite, the bolognese I make from scratch." I stared at her, this woman I had shared a bed with for 3 years, who now seemed like a complete stranger. "Ava, when did you get that tattoo on your shoulder?" The spatula in Ava's hand froze. Her back was to me, and she was silent for a few seconds. "What tattoo?" She turned around, her face a mask of confusion. "I don't have a tattoo." "Really?" I took a step closer. "Then I must have imagined it." "You must have," Ava said, reaching up to touch my face. "Honey, have you been working too hard lately? Maybe we should take a vacation, just unwind a little." I took her hand, feeling the warmth of her palm. "Sure. Where to?" "You decide," Ava said, standing on her toes to kiss my lips. "Whatever you want." For a moment, I almost believed she truly loved me. Then I saw her phone light up on the couch. A new message from Dylan. "Same place tonight. I miss you." Ava scrambled to grab the phone. "It's just a work message from Chloe." "Chloe." I laughed. "When did she change her name to Dylan?" The color drained from Ava's face. "Ethan, let me explain." "Explain what?" I sat down on the couch. "Explain why you've been lying to me? Or explain that you're back with Dylan?" Ava crumpled to the floor, tears streaming down her face. "Ethan, don't cry." I handed her a tissue. "Tears aren't going to fix this. I never meant to betray you." Ava sobbed. "Dylan just kept contacting me after he moved back to the States. I tried to say no, but..." "But what?" "But I realized I still had feelings for him." Ava said, her head bowed. "Ethan, it's been tearing me apart. I don't want to hurt you, but I can't lie to my own heart." I looked at her, this woman still making excuses for her betrayal. "So you chose to have both of us?" "No." Ava denied it instantly. You just haven't decided who to pick yet. Is that it?" I stood up. "Ava, I want a divorce." "No." She grabbed my leg. "Ethan, I can cut Dylan out of my life completely. We can start over, please." I looked down at her, feeling nothing but a cold emptiness. "It's too late." The next day, I went to work as usual. Ava sent a flood of texts and made countless calls. I ignored them all. That afternoon, she showed up at my office building. "Ethan, come down. We need to talk." I looked down from the floor-to-ceiling window in my office. Ava was standing at the main entrance, drawing a small crowd of onlookers. "Mr. Wright, should I handle this?" my secretary, Sarah, asked. "No," I said, grabbing my suit jacket. "I'll go down." Downstairs, the moment Ava saw me, she rushed forward and threw her arms around me. "Honey, you finally came down." "Let go," I said, pushing her away. "We can talk about this at home." "No." Ava grabbed my hand. "You won't answer my texts or my calls." I had to come here. The crowd was growing. I had no intention of airing my private life in front of my company. "Get in the car." Ava immediately followed me to the car, her compliance a stark contrast to her earlier desperation. Inside the car, she didn't stop explaining. "Ethan, I swear I know I was wrong. I've already deleted Dylan's number. I'll never see him again." "And then what?" "And then we start over, just like before." Ava said, taking my hand. I swear, I will never betray you again. I looked at her. Ava, do you think I'm an idiot? What do you mean? I'll ask you again. When did this start? Ava hesitated. Just recently. How recent is recently? A month ago. And when did Dylan move back to the States? 3 months ago. I laughed, a cold, bitter sound. So you were meeting up with him for 2 months before it started? Ava's face went white again. Ava, you can't even be honest with me now. How can we talk about starting over? Fine. Ava snapped, her voice tight. I'll tell you everything. He contacted me as soon as he got back. The first time we met up, you slept together. I finished for her. Ava nodded, fresh tears falling. I am sorry, Ethan. I'm so sorry. In the last 3 months, how many times have you seen him? I can't remember. Can't remember? I sneered. Sounds like the two of you were quite the happy couple. Ethan, I know you're angry, but what we had was real too. Ava tried to argue. My love for you never changed. Love. I pulled the car over. Ava, do you even know what love is? Love is exclusivity. It's loyalty. It's respect. I said, each word a shard of ice. And what did you give me? Betrayal, lies, and disgust. My words hit their mark. She started crying harder. Ethan, I'm begging you. Just give me one more chance. A chance. I looked at her. Did it ever occur to you that the moment you chose to cheat, our marriage was over? It's not over, she said frantically. We can still fix this. We can start again. Start again. I unlocked the doors. Ava, get out of the car. I won't. Get out, or I'll drag you out. Seeing the cold fury in my eyes, Ava knew I wasn't bluffing. She slowly got out of the car and stood on the side of the road, watching me. Ethan, are you really throwing me away? I didn't answer. I just drove away. In the rearview mirror, I saw her standing on the curb, looking like an abandoned child. But I felt no pity. Betrayal is betrayal. There are no excuses, no reasons. Back at our condo, I started packing Ava's things. 3 years of marriage. Her belongings filled more than a dozen boxes. Every item had once been a symbol of our happiness. Now, they were just symbols of a lie. I piled all the boxes in the living room and sent Ava a single text. Your things are in the living room. Come get them tomorrow. She replied almost instantly. Honey, can't we please try to start over? I looked at the message, picturing her in that hotel room, remembering the look on her face as she lied to me. No. After sending the text, I blocked her number. The next day, Ava came to get her things with Dylan in tow. I had waited at home on purpose. I wanted to see what this man looked like. He was a little taller than me, dressed in a designer suit, looking every bit the successful financier. Ethan, I'm sorry, Dylan said as soon as he saw me. This is my fault. I never should have. Shut up, I cut him off. I'm not interested in your excuses. Dylan paused, glancing at Ava. Ava, why don't you start moving the boxes? I'd like to talk to Mr. Wright. There's nothing to talk about, I said from the sofa. Get your things and get out. Ava started packing, with Dylan helping her. Watching them work together so seamlessly filled me with a fresh wave of nausea. Ethan, you've taken good care of her all these years, Dylan said suddenly. Ava told me about your life together. I know you're a good man. And I'll take good care of her from now on, Dylan said, looking me in the eye. I'll make her happy. I laughed. You think a woman you stole from another man can be happy? What Ava and I have is true love. True love. I stood up. Dylan, what do you know about true love? True love is about waiting, about perseverance, about loyalty. I walked right up to him. And what did the two of you demonstrate for me? Betrayal, deception, and disgust. Dylan's expression soured. Mr. Wright, I know you're angry, but matters of the heart. Crack. The sound of my hand connecting with his face echoed in the room. Ethan, Ava shrieked, rushing over. What are you doing? I pushed Ava aside and pointed at Dylan. Remember this. I didn't slap you for her. I slapped you because I can't stand the sight of you. Dylan held his cheek, a flicker of rage in his eyes. Ethan, don't take this too far. Too far. I sneered. I haven't even started. What does that mean? Ava asked, her voice trembling. You'll find out soon enough. That evening, I called Mike, a private investigator I knew. Mike, I need you to look into someone for me. Who? Dylan Vance. Just moved back from overseas, supposedly in finance. What do you need? Everything you can find, I said, pausing. Money is no object. Okay, give me a week. After the call, I opened my laptop and started mapping out my revenge. Ava thought this was over. She was wrong. Betrayal has a price. Since she chose to betray me, she couldn't blame me for being merciless. First, I reached out to a few friends in the media, then a few in the business community. Ava was a marketing director at a multinational firm, and Dylan was an investor. I was going to teach them the meaning of social death. The next day, I went to Ava's office. Mr. Wright, what are you doing here? One of Ava's colleagues, Kevin, recognized me. Ava's in a meeting. I'll wait. Half an hour later, Ava walked out of the conference room and froze when she saw me. Ethan, what are you doing here? Just wanted to see my ex-wife's work environment, I said, raising my voice just enough. The words ex-wife hung in the air, sharp and deafening in the quiet office. Ava's face went pale as her colleagues turned to stare. Ethan, don't make a scene here, she hissed. I'm not making a scene, I said with a smile. I just wanted to share some good news with everyone. What good news? A curious coworker asked. Ava is getting married, I announced. To her first love, Mr. Dylan Vance. The office fell completely silent. Ethan, Ava was panicking. Don't talk nonsense. Nonsense. I held up my phone. Should I show everyone the photos? Ava looked like she was about to faint. She knew I wasn't bluffing. Ethan, what do you want? I want to wish you two the best, I said loudly. Here's to a long and happy marriage. With that, I turned and walked away. Behind me, I could hear Ava start to sob and the eruption of hushed gossip from her colleagues. This was only the beginning. For a week later, Mike sent me his report. Dylan had indeed returned from overseas, but his investment firm was a shell corporation with no actual business. More importantly, he had a wife in London and a child. I stared at the file and let out a cold laugh. Ava, oh, Ava, you really know how to pick them. I immediately sent her a text. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., the Viceroy, room 1208. We need to talk. She replied quickly. Ethan, what are you planning? You'll find out when you get here. The next evening, Ava arrived at the hotel on time. I was already waiting in the room. Ethan, what did you want to see me about? She asked, her voice wary. Sit, I said, pointing to the couch. Let's have a nice chat. Ava sat, watching me nervously. Did you know Dylan has a wife and kid in London? The color drained from Ava's face. What? I'll take that as a no. I slid the file across the table to her. See for yourself. Her hands trembled as she flipped through the pages. Her expression grew uglier with every photo and document she saw. This can't be real. Can't be? I sneered. The pictures are right there, along with a copy of their marriage certificate. Ava collapsed back into the sofa cushions, tears streaming down her face. He lied to me. He lied to me. How does it feel to be the one who's been cheated on? I sat across from her. Ava, tell me, was this man worth betraying me for? Ethan, I didn't know. Didn't know what? I didn't know he was married, she cried. He told me he was single. He said he was going to marry me. I looked at her, devoid of any sympathy. So what? So what are you going to do now? Ava paused. I'm going to break up with him. Break up with him? I stood up. Ava, you're so incredibly naive. What do you mean? You think breaking up with him solves anything? I walked to the window. Do you think I'm going to forgive you? Ava was silent. Ethan, I know I was wrong. I know I hurt you, she choked out. But can't we really, truly not start over? No. I turned back to face her. Ava, some things, once they're done, they're done. There are no do-overs. Then what do you want from me? I want you to pay. Pay how? I smiled. You'll see. I took out my phone and turned on the voice recorder. Ava, I have a few questions for you. What questions? How many times did you and Dylan sleep together? Ava's face flushed with shame. Ethan, why are you asking me this? Answer me. I don't remember. Don't remember? I sneered. Fine, let's try another one. Where was your favorite place to meet? Ethan, what are you trying to do? I want the truth, I said, sitting back down. Ava, you have two choices. What choices? One, you answer my questions honestly, and I promise this recording stays between us. And the second. Two, I send the photos of you and him to everyone in your company, including your boss. Ava's face went ashen. Ethan, you can't do that. Why can't I? Because Because it would ruin me. Ruin you. I laughed. Ava, when you chose to betray me, did you ever stop to think that you were ruining me? She had nothing to say. Fina, I'll answer your questions. For the next hour, Ava answered every single one of my questions in humiliating detail. The location of their first meeting, the date they first slept together, even the specifics of their encounters. I recorded it all. Ethan, I told you everything. Can you please? Please what? Please not send those photos? I looked at her, this woman who was still begging me for mercy. Ava, I'll keep my promise. I won't send the photos. She breathed a sigh of relief. But what? But I want you to publicly confess to your affair at the office. What? Ava stared at me in disbelief. You want me to confess at work? Yes. No way, she shook her head. I'll never be able to show my face there again. Then quit. Ethan, you can't do this to me. I can't, I said, standing up. Ava, it's your only choice. And if I refuse, then I'll send the recordings and the photos to everyone at your company. Ava knew I wasn't bluffing. Ooh, okay. Tomorrow afternoon. I'll be there. Ava nodded, tears falling again. I watched her, my heart of stone. This is the price of betrayal. 5 the next afternoon, I showed up at Ava's office right on time. She was already waiting for me, her face pale and drawn. Ethan, you're here. I am, I nodded. Are you ready? Ava hesitated. Can't I just tell you privately? No. I shook my head. It has to be in front of everyone. Ava bit her lip, then walked to the center of the open plan office. Everyone, can I have your attention? She said, her voice trembling. I have something to say. Her colleague stopped typing and looked up. I had an affair while I was married. Ava said, her voice barely a whisper. I was unfaithful to my husband. A stunned silence fell over the office. What? Someone finally asked. Ava, what did you say? I said I cheated. Ava repeated, louder this time. I betrayed my husband. I'm a disloyal wife. A low murmur of gossip began to ripple through the room. Oh my God, I never would have thought. She always seemed so professional. You just never know with people. Ava listened to the whispers, her face growing paler by the second. Ava, I said, walking to her side. Is there anything else you'd like to say? I'm sorry to everyone, she choked out. I betrayed your trust. That's enough, I said, patting her shoulder. You can go now. Looking relieved, Ava practically fled from the office. I remained where I was, observing the shocked expressions of her coworkers. Mr. Wright, I'm so sorry, Kevin, her colleague, said, approaching me. We had no idea. It's fine, I said with a small smile. It's not your fault. Are you doing okay? I'm fine, I said, checking my watch. I should get going. Of course, Mr. Wright. Take care. As I left the building, I saw Ava sitting on the steps outside, crying. Ava, I said, walking over. What's with the tears? Are you satisfied now, Ethan? She asked, looking up at me. I can never show my face in that office again. You got what you deserved. I know I was wrong, but you didn't have to humiliate me like this. Humiliate you? I sneered. Ava, do you want to know what humiliation is? Humiliation is finding out my wife is sleeping with another man, I said, my voice low and dangerous. Humiliation is being kept in the dark for 3 months, played for a complete fool. Ava had no reply. Ethan, can't we please, just one last time, start over? No. I turned to leave. Ava, don't contact me again. Wait, she called out. I have one question for you. What is it? When did you find out? 3 months ago. Ava stared, stunned. 3 months? Then why didn't you say anything sooner? Because I wanted to see how long you could keep up the act, I said, looking back at her. And I have to say, Ava, your performance was incredible. What do you mean? Coming home every night to cook for me, watch TV with me, sleep with me, I sneered, all while you were betraying me, pretending to be the loving wife. Do you know, I cut her off, that those 3 months were the most disgusting period of my entire life? Ava's face was ashen. Ethan, I really do love you. Love me? I laughed. Ava, you don't even know the meaning of the word. Without another glance, I walked away. I could hear her sobbing behind me, but I didn't feel a shred of pity. Betrayers don't deserve sympathy. Back in my own office, I felt a grim sense of satisfaction. Ava's humiliation at her company was just the first step. I had bigger plans. That afternoon, I received a call. Mr. Wright, This is Jake from the Chicago Chronicle. I was hoping to get a comment from you. About what? About the recent dissolution of your marriage. I smiled. Who told you we were getting a divorce? Well, we received a tip that your wife was involved in an extramarital affair and that you were moving forward with divorce proceedings. Oh, I feigned surprise. Who was the source? I can't reveal that, of course, but we wanted to get your side of the story. Fina, I can give you an interview. That's great. Won't it be a good time? This afternoon works for me. I hung up the phone, a cold smile on my face. Jake was an old friend from college. I had been the one to call him yesterday. That afternoon, Jake arrived at my office with a photographer. Ethan, thanks for doing this, Jake said professionally. No problem, I said, straightening my tie. Let's get started. Mr. Wright, can you comment on the current state of your marriage to Ms. Ava Thompson? We're divorced. And what was the reason for the divorce? She had an affair, I stated calmly. A 3-month-long affair during our marriage. How did you find out? I hired a private investigator. What was your reaction when you discovered the truth? Anger, disappointment, disgust, I said, enunciating each word. I never imagined the woman I shared my life with for 3 years would betray me. What are your plans now? To move on, I said, looking directly at the camera. I believe there are still loyal women out there. Do you have anything to say to those who are unfaithful in their marriages? I'd say that betrayal has a price, I said with a sneer. And don't ever assume a man is a fool. All right. Thank you for your time, Mr. Wright. Of course. After the official interview ended, Jake asked me quietly, Ethan, are you sure you want to go through with this? What do you mean? I mean, isn't this going to be a little rough on Ava? Rough on her? I scoffed. Did she think about whether she was being rough on me when she was cheating? No, I cut him off. Jake, freedom of the press. You know the drill. All right, Jake nodded. I'll make sure the reporting is objective. Thanks. That evening, the interview was the headline story on the Chicago Chronicle's website. The title read, Prominent Chicago Executive Ethan Wright on Wife's Infidelity. Betrayal has a price. The article detailed the timeline of our marriage and her affair. While it didn't use Ava's full name, anyone who knew us would know exactly who it was about. The next day, my phone blew up. Calls from friends offering sympathy, from other media outlets asking for interviews, and even from strangers expressing their support. Mr. Wright, you're so brave. What's wrong with women these days? You have to stay strong. I replied to each one, feigning gratitude. But I knew this was just the beginning. Ava's life was about to get much, much harder. Around noon, a call came through from an unknown number. It was Ava. Ethan, did you do this? She demanded, her voice shaking with rage. Do what? The article in the Chronicle. Oh, that, I said with a laugh. A reporter came to interview me, yes. Why would you agree to an interview? Why shouldn't I? Ethan, you're going to ruin my life. Ruin your life? I sneered. Ava, isn't it already ruined? I just told everyone the truth. I cut her off. Is there a problem with that? You. Ava was so angry she was speechless. Ava, this is just the beginning. I warned her. If you ever bother me again, I will make things much worse for you. Ethan, you can't treat me like this. I can, I said coldly. And I will. I hung up, feeling a surge of triumph. Ava, your punishment is just getting started. 7 weeks later, I had an unexpected visitor. Dylan Vance. Ethan, we need to talk, he said, sitting in my office, his face grim. About what? About Ava. What about her? She's been a wreck for days. She lost her job. She's falling apart, Dylan said, looking at me pleadingly. Ethan, can you just let this go? Let her go. I laughed. Dylan, why in the world would I do that? Because she knows she was wrong. She knows she was wrong? I sneered. What exactly does she know? She knows she shouldn't have cheated. And you? I stared at him. Do you know you shouldn't seduce another man's wife? Dylan flushed. You what? I stood up. Dylan, what right do you have to come here and beg me for anything? I know I'm at fault. At fault. I walked over to him. Your faults go far beyond that. What do you mean? What about your wife and child in London? The color drained from Dylan's face. You? How did you know? Of course I know, I said with a chilling smile. Dylan, did you really think you could keep that a secret? You didn't just lie to Ava. You lied to me, I said, each word a hammer blow. The two of you are a pair of liars. Dylan was silent. Ethan, I admit I wasn't forthcoming about some things. Some things, I scoffed. You have a wife and kid, and you're seducing another man's wife. You call that some things? Dylan, do you have any idea what state Ava is in right now? What do you mean? She's in despair because she found out the man she blew up her life for is a married fraud, I said, watching him. Do you really think she's going to forgive you? Dylan's face grew even paler. Ethan, I can divorce my wife. And then I'll marry Ava? Marry Ava? I laughed. Dylan, do you think she'd still want you? And even if she did, I wouldn't let you two be together. Why not? Because you're both going to pay. I sat back down in my chair. Dylan, you hurt me, and there are consequences. What consequences? You'll find out soon enough. Dylan looked at me, a flicker of fear in his eyes. Ethan, don't take this too far. Too far? I sneered. Dylan, do you know what too far is? Too far is the two of you sneaking around behind my back for 3 months, pretending nothing was wrong, I said icily. Too far is playing me for a fool. Dylan had nothing to say. Ethan, we can compensate you. Compensate me? I looked at him. With what? Money. Money. I laughed out loud. Dylan, do I look like I need money? Then what do you want? I want you both to pay. What's the price? Your reputations, your careers, your futures, I sneered. I'm going to make you understand that betrayal has a price. Dylan's face was ashen. Ethan, you can't do this. I can, I said, standing up. Dylan, this is the path you chose. But I cut him off. You chose to betray me. You have to face the consequences. Ethan, I'm begging you, Dylan said, suddenly dropping to his knees. Please, just leave Ava out of this. I looked down at the man kneeling on my office floor and felt nothing. Dylan, so now you know how to beg? I know I was wrong. Wrong? I sneered. Where did you go wrong? I shouldn't have pursued Ava. What else? I shouldn't have hidden my marriage. What else? I don't know. Your biggest mistake was hurting me, I said, looking down at him. And Dylan, that is unforgivable. Ethan, I'll do anything to make it right. Anything? I smiled. Dylan, are you sure? I'm sure. Good, I said, taking out my phone. Then you won't mind if I call your wife right now and tell her everything you've been doing here in Chicago? No. Dylan looked up at me in terror. Ethan, you can't do that. Why not? Because it'll destroy my family. Destroy your family? I sneered as I dialed the number. Did you ever stop to think that you were destroying mine? Dylan was speechless. Dylan, this is karma, I said as the phone began to ring. You hurt me. Now it's your turn to suffer. It didn't take long for Dylan's wife to learn the truth. She was on the next flight from London, showing up directly at the apartment Dylan was renting. My PI told me they had a massive fight. Dylan's wife demanded a divorce on the spot. You bastard, she screamed, according to the report. I'm in London raising our son, and you're here seducing other women. Honey, please, let me explain. Explain what? She reportedly threw a vase at him. We've been married for 5 years. Is this how you treat me? It wasn't intentional. Not intentional, she scoffed. Dylan, do you think I'm an idiot? I really do love you. Love me, she laughed. If you loved me, you wouldn't be sleeping with another man's wife. Dylan was left speechless. I want a divorce, his wife said coldly. I'm taking our son, and I'm leaving you. No. Dylan fell to his knees, grabbing her legs. Please, give me one more chance. A chance? She kicked him away. Dylan, you're out of chances. The very next day, she hired a lawyer and began divorce proceedings. Meanwhile, Ava's life continued to spiral. She'd been fired from her job and was reportedly drinking heavily at home. A mutual acquaintance told me she was a mess, completely unrecognizable. Are you satisfied now, Ethan? Ava called me again, her voice slurring. I have nothing left. You're getting what you deserve. I know I was wrong, but you didn't have to do this to me, she sobbed. I can't even find a job. So what? Ethan, I'm begging you, stop torturing me. Torturing you? I sneered. Ava, do you want to know what torture is? Torture is spending every night imagining you in bed with another man. I said, my voice like steel. Torture is knowing you're lying to my face and having to pretend I don't. Ava cried harder. Ethan, I really know I was wrong. And what good does that do now? I can change. Change. I laughed. Ava, Can a cheater really change? I can. Impossible, I said coldly. Once a traitor, always a traitor. Ethan, you can't be so absolute. I can, I said and hung up. A few days later, I received some good news. Dylan's investment firm had been raided by the FBI. It turned out he was running a Ponzi scheme and was now the subject of a federal investigation. Ethan, this guy Dylan is in deep trouble. My friend Ben told me over drinks. He's probably going to prison. Really? I feigned surprise. What happened? His firm was a complete sham, just bilking investors out of their money, Ben said. Dozens of people have filed complaints. So what's his status now? He's in federal custody. I was ecstatic, but on the surface, I remained sympathetic. Wow, you just never know. Yeah, the guy looked so polished. Turns out he was a complete con artist. How's Ava doing? I heard she's a wreck, crying all day, a shadow of her former self, Ben said, shaking his head. Man, maybe it's time to let up on her. Let up on her? I sneered. Ben, do you really think I should? You were married, after all. Married? I laughed. Ben, does a woman who betrays you still deserve to be called your wife? Ben looked at me, a hint of concern in his eyes. Ethan, don't get too extreme with this. Extreme? I scoffed. Ben, you've never been betrayed like this. You don't understand the pain. But what you're doing now, isn't it going too far? Too far. I stood up. Ben, when she was cheating on me, did she ever stop to think she was going too far? Ben had nothing to say. I'm just worried you're going to regret this, man. Regret it? I looked at him. Ben, I will never regret this. A month later, Dylan Vance was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. Ava cried hysterically in the courtroom, but no one offered her any sympathy. You fraud, one of the investors screamed at him from the gallery. You stole all our money. I'll pay it back, Dylan mumbled, his head bowed. Pay it back, the investor scoffed. With what? Dylan had no answer. The judge delivered the sentence. Guilty of multiple counts of wire fraud, 3 years imprisonment. When she heard the verdict, Ava fainted. I sat in the public gallery, watching the scene unfold with a deep sense of satisfaction. This was the price of betrayal. After Dylan was led away, Ava sat alone on a bench outside the courtroom, sobbing. Ava, I said, walking over. How are you feeling? Ethan, you came, she said, looking up, her eyes red and swollen. I came to see how it all ended for you. How it ended? Ava gave a bitter smile. Yes, this is how it ends. Do you regret it? You do, Ava nodded. I regret everything. Regret what? I regret meeting Dylan. I regret betraying you. Anything else? I regret not cherishing our marriage. I looked at her, my heart unmoved. Ava, what good is regret now? I know it's useless, she choked out, but I still need to say it. Say what? I'm sorry. Sorry. I sneered. Ava, do you think saying sorry fixes anything? I know it doesn't, she said, looking at me, but I still need to say it. Then say it. Ethan, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Ava knelt on the ground before me. I never should have betrayed you. I never should have hurt you. What else? I shouldn't have lied. I shouldn't have deceived you. What else? I don't know. Your biggest mistake was ever coming into my life, I said, looking down at her. Ava, you destroyed my faith in marriage. Ethan, don't, I said, turning to leave. Ava, this is the last time we will ever see each other. Ethan, wait, she called out. I want to ask you one more thing. What? Do you still hate me? I looked back at her and thought for a moment. No. Really, I nodded. Ava, right now, I just find you pathetic. Pathetic? Yes, pathetic, I sneered. You threw away your job, your reputation, and your future for a con man. Ava's face went white. Ethan, you? Me what? I cut her off. Ava, this is the path you chose. I know, she whispered, lowering her head. I know this is what I deserve. Good that you know, I said, turning and walking away. Take care of yourself, Ava. I heard her cries behind me, but I didn't look back. A betrayer is not worthy of sympathy. 6 months later, I found love again. Her name was Lily, a kind and gentle woman. We met at a friend's party. Her smile was so warm, it reminded me of what it felt like to have a crush for the first time. Ethan, you look exhausted, Lily said to me with genuine concern. Work has been pretty hectic lately, I said with a small smile. It's nothing. Do you want to go somewhere quieter and talk? I'd like that. We found a nearby coffee shop and settled into a quiet corner. A friend told me you recently went through a divorce, Lily asked cautiously. I did, I nodded. But that's all in the past now. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have brought it up. It's okay, I said, looking at her. You're very kind. Kind, Lily smiled. I just don't want to make you sad. Sad. I shook my head. I'm not sad anymore. Really? Really? I said sincerely. Lily, what happened is over. I'm only looking forward now. That's good to hear, Lily said, visibly relieved. My biggest fear is meeting a man who isn't over his past. Why is that? Because they tend to project the mistakes of the last woman onto the next one, Lily said earnestly. And I don't think that's fair. I looked at her, deeply moved. Lily, I promise you I won't do that. Really? Really? I said, taking her hand. I'll give you a clean slate. Lily beamed, her smile radiant. Then let's give this a try. Okay. From that day on, Lily and I started dating. She was gentle and thoughtful, and she never once asked about my past. I cherished our new relationship and focused on being a better man. One day, while we were out shopping, we ran into Ava. She looked gaunt and wore old clothes, her hair unkempt. Ethan, Ava stopped short when she saw us. Ava, I nodded. How are you? I'm okay. Her eyes were a mixture of emotions. And this is my girlfriend, Lily, I said. Hello, Lily said with a polite nod. I abamanaja aviaksmila. She's beautiful, Ethan. Thank you, I said, looking at Ava. What are you doing now? I'm working as a clerk at a small firm, she said, her voice quiet. The pay isn't great, but it's enough to get by. That's good. Ethan, Ava started, then stopped. If you have something to say, just say it. I just wanted to say that I'm sorry for everything, she said, her gaze fixed on me. I hope you can be happy. I will be, I nodded. You should take care of yourself too, Ava. I will. After we said goodbye, Lily asked me, was it your ex-wife? Yes. She looked so sad. Sad. I looked at Lily. Why do you say that? There was this hopelessness in her eyes, Lily said, like she's lost everything. I thought for a moment. Lily, some pain is self-inflicted. What do you mean? She chose to betray me, and she had to face the consequences, I said seriously. In this world, everyone has to be responsible for their own choices. Understand, Lily nodded. Ethan, I'll cherish what we have. Me too, I said, squeezing her hand. Lily, we're going to be happy. I know. A year later, Lily and I were married. The wedding was a grand affair, filled with our friends and family. As I stood on the stage giving my speech, I saw Ava in the crowd. She was sitting in the very last row, watching me quietly. Our eyes met. She gave me a small, sad smile, then slipped out of the room. I knew that was the last time I would ever see her. I never did see Ava again. But I heard through the grapevine that she never remarried, that she remained alone. Some said she was atoning for her mistakes. Others said she was too hurt to ever trust and love again. But I knew that none of it mattered anymore. What mattered was that I had a new life, a new love. Ava was just a chapter in my past, a painful experience that forced me to grow. Today I am happy. I have a wife who loves me and a home filled with warmth. I have forgiven everything that happened, including Ava's betrayal, because I know that you can only embrace the future when you let go of the past. And as for Ava, she made her choice. She faced the consequences. That's life. That's the price of your choices. I don't regret what I did, because I gave her the punishment she deserved. Now we both have our own lives. I am happy. She is alone. That is the price of betrayal.